native bees so important? Native bees and other native pollinating insects are absolutely essential for native plants to set viable seeds. Plant populations in natural ecological communities can decline, and as you lose your plant species, ultimately you can get what is called ecosystem collapse. Secondly, quite a few native bee species have been shown in a number of studies to actually be very effective pollinators of commercially important crops. And there's been quite a few studies done on native bees, such as blue-banded bees and leafcutter bees and the stingless bees, that have shown that they are actually more efficient as pollinators than honeybees are.
Until the mid-1990s, Gunning was a service town on the Hume Highway, linking Sydney with Melbourne. The village was full of trucks. But the village felt deserted when it was bypassed in 1990, and since then has been on a journey to reimagine itself.
Wendy went up to the council office in Gunning and asked for a copy of the Main Street study. Said, how about we find Chinese pistachios? In June 1996, the blocks were there, the trees were there. Wendy and Bruce had organised the tree planting. She also, at the same time, started to work on roses outside the courthouse and outside the motel and outside the bank.
The community began in 1996 with street plantings of colourful trees and shrubs. More recently, influenced by Landcare, community efforts have focused on connecting urban blue and green spaces to natural corridors for birds and bees.
Initially, local government did a streetscape plan. They did some community consultation, and I think they got a pretty clear message about beautifying the town. Off the back of that, the Gunning District Association applied for a street trees bees habitat project. We also got some information from a local bee expert and planted particular plants too that support the native bee and do not support the European honeybee. These are quite aggressive bees that tend to compete with the native bees. So we had a list of plants that could support the native bees and give them a food source that couldn't be sort of taken over by the European honeybee.
How's the Gunning project going to help native bees? Basically, it has involved selecting a variety of trees and shrubs and ground cover plants that provides nectar and pollen for native bees. By enhancing the local diversity of native plants, it's obviously going to have beneficial effect for native bees, and not only native bees but other native insects and other native fauna in general, so small birds and reptiles and microbats and so on.
It was freezing and it was probably snowing. They all put their jackets on and put their gloves on and brought out their shovels and just got on with the job. It was amazing. Challenging, but we got through.
We have an estimated 200,000 insect species in Australia. Hardly any are actually harmful. So really the take-home message is, unless you really have to, don't apply pesticides, and certainly don't apply pesticides to any flowering plants, because you're going to harm not just the pests you're targeting, but you're going to harm things like our native bees. And as I explained before, they are terribly important. We need them.